Hi, today we are going to see how to create a ledger. We will see how to create a ledger a little bit in detail and understand how it is related to other areas like a legal entity, RC, reporting currencies, secondary ledger, subledgers, etc. Ledger. What is ledger? A ledger is a new terminology in our tool world. If you know 11i, Oracle 11i, it is nothing but a set of books what we call in 11i. Ledger can be defined using ASM, Accounting Setup Manager. You don't need to remember the navigation. Simply press Ctrl L and select whatever the form or page you want to access. Now, let us see what is ledger and how to create a ledger. To create a ledger, we need 4 C's. In 11i, we need 3 C's. Calendar, chart of account and currencies. Calendar must be defined and validated. Once you define the calendar, please ensure that you are validating the calendar and see the output. There is no violation. On chart of account, it has to be designed. The perfect word is design. We are going to create a separate article for chart of accounts because we need to have an in-depth understanding on that. And currency must be enabled. Simply we just enable the checkbox. We are talking about only the base currencies. Say example, we are going to see how to create a ledger for UK, that is for GP. Simply enable the GP currencies. And one more C that is new in R12, that is known as accounting convention. It's nothing but subledger accounting. It's a SLA. Short form is SLA. We will try to use the short form as much as possible. So we all also have to familiar with the Oracle jargon. Okay, what is a main ledger? The main ledger is nothing but the GL, general ledger, where we store or consolidate all the key information finally for corporate reporting purposes and publish the financial results. And subledgers, AR, AP, purchasing, projects you call whatever, it's all subledgers. Now, in ASM, we can define 3 types of ledger. One is primary ledger, another is secondary ledger, third is a reporting ledger. It's nothing but a reporting currency. In 11i term, it is reporting set of books, RSOB, reporting set of books. Primary ledger, as I have said, it's a main ledger where we store finally all the information in a consolidated way, and as well as we can pass the journals and adjustments as per the auditor results or for a corporate accounting. And we can have one or more secondary ledger defined and assigned to the primary ledger. Second, what is secondary ledger? It is an optional. It's not a mandatory. Wherever we want to have an additional accounting representation, we want to project the accounting in a different way, where it differs from one of the 4 C's from the primary ledger, then we need to have a secondary ledger. Okay, I tell you in a short form what is secondary ledger. In 11i, when I had implemented for one of the client, we had implemented around 13 or 14 countries, I don't remember. They want to have an official proper accounting as it has been defined and agreed, but only for a management reporting, they want to have a different way of structuring. The another one is like a France, they have to satisfy the local legal laws as well. We were forced to create a multiple set of books with a different chart of accounts and consolidated the books and run the report or FSGs based on the consolidated set of books to satisfy the different requirement like a legal requirement, the management reporting, etc. In R12, just define a secondary ledger and change to the 4 C's whatever you want and satisfy the requirement. The another one in the practical world in R12, wherever you have to make a different representation to satisfy IAS, International Accounting Standard, or US GAAP example, or IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. It's a different requirement. You can have a secondary ledger. We will see secondary ledger as well. The another one is reporting currencies, reporting ledger. The main point to understand here is there is no need to define separate ledger for reporting currencies. It can share the ledger, but only thing is whenever there is only one unique requirement, you want to report in a different currencies. Say example, you are defining the ledger for GP, but your holding company, the parent company is in US. Finally, you have to report into the management in the form of reporting currency in USD. You can do it. Now, both the primary ledger and secondary ledger can have a RCs. RC can be configured. If you don't configure any RCs, if you run translation for any reason, system will create a RC reporting currency automatically. We will try to use the short form PL primary ledger, SL secondary ledger, RC reporting currencies, ASM accounting setup managers. Now, let us start with create a accounting setup. To define that, apart from 4 C's, we need to have a legal entity as well. We have seen how to create a legal entity. Please go to learnapps.co.uk, click shop, all are free materials. You don't need to pay anything. Just access it. Please ensure that you are going and registering yourself. First you have to register yourself, then access the free material as you need. Back to subject. We have created a legal entity already. Just Sparksoft. Click next. So to create a ledger, we need to have a 4 C's and finally link it to the legal entity, the name. So we are going to see one by one on each and every field how to configure this. To understand easily, what we will do is we will prefix or suffix the relevant name. Say example, I am just creating the ledger. Let me suffix the word PL. PL stands for primary ledger. Chart of accounts. We are using here for demo purposes Vision instance. So let us use operations, what is available already in the system. We are going to see in detail how to create a chart of accounts separately. Name the ledger as you need. The requirement you have to gather from the client. We cannot type as we think, so we have to get the relevant name. Chart of accounts. Chart of accounts must be defined. It's a designed. Chart of account must be designed. The correct word is a design. Actually, we need to design. It's not a simply creating the segments and add the values. We will see in detail. Accounting calendar. Accounting calendar must be validated. Just create the calendar and validate. Ensure that you are validating the calendar and see the output. There is no violation found before you put it into use. Okay, it's very important. Define the calendar, validate it, see the output. There is no violation found. Then you use it in a ledger. It's a simple. That's the reason we are not capturing. If there are a lot of requirements, we will capture that as well. Create an accounting calendar. So accounting 13. It's a monthly calendar. So when we use the word calendar, it starts from January to December. The 13 means there is an adjusting period. You can have one or more adjusting period where you can pass the final adjustment entry based on the auditing records or pass the corrections or rectifications or where there is a merger. We will see in detail. Okay, so now accounting calendar, we are using the calendar called accounting 13. Currencies, we are going to use it everything for GBP. Currency is a British pound. Subledger accounting method. Subledger accounting method is an additional accounting representation. It's a very good in R12. If you go use in detail, in depth, you will be surprised how best we can use this. The standard one is standard accrual accounting. That's what we are going to use it. How to change the accounting based on different customers, supplier, invoices, types, and the place, everything we can see later. Now, subledger accounting method, standard accrual, the seeded one, out of box. We are going to use wherever is out of box. We can see the word Oracle. If we customize, if we prepare the SLA, it will show as a user. So we are going to use the standard accrual. So this is the 4C we are grouping. We have created name the ledger, chart of accounts, calendar, currency, and conventional accounting convention, nothing but SLA. This is the 4Cs. Just click the next. We just have a look. If you are not happy, we just click the back button and change it whatever you like. Finally, we just click the finish. Now, system will give us an option. You want to go back to accounting setup, or you can go ahead further and define the ledger. Now, we have assigned the legal entity to the ledger, so that's what we are seeing at the top. As an architecture, note that there is no mandatory setup required to assign the legal entity to the ledger. There is no requirement. If you want a legal environment at subledger level, or if you are going to use the AGIS, Advanced Global Intercompany, then you have to assign the legal entity to the ledger. Otherwise, by product, system will work. Just assigning the values to the BSV, balance segment values, to the ledger, that can be used directly. Of course, there is no requirement. Now we have assigned one ledger called, we have created a ledger and we have assigned a legal entity called Spoksoft, and you can assign the value as well. Let me assign the values. Okay, now ledger options. Now, what's a ledger? The short form. This short name only will be used when you are going to define an operating unit. When you are going to define an operating unit and assign to the ledger, you will see only this name. You will see in detail. Then, what's the first ever open period you want to open? The first open period, it's a question of data migration in a real sense. When you are going to implement it, what's the first period? First period depends on the, say example, you are on a 11i or you are on some non-Oracle system. So you have to ask a question. From what date you want to migrate the data from a legacy third-party system or 11i Oracle system? If they want to last 1 year, say some of the countries where we have to compare the financial statements current year to the previous year, 1 year example. So if they want a 1 year, say example you are going live January 2014, you just put a starting period as a 00113. So you will have a journals or balances from January 2013. And it's a little bit a very lengthy subject. Example, subledgers. Subledgers, you want to transact the subledgers from, say example, 2010, so 3 years. If you're going to keep January 2013 as a first period, transaction date can be anything. You don't need to define a calendar. Say example, you have a transaction from 2000, January 2000, but still accounting date can be January 2013. Transaction date can be different. And real accounting date is nothing but the GL date. System will consider only GL date as an accounting date. We are defining first period as a 01-2013, and whatever the SLA accounting convention we attached, it is defaulting year. We just go to retained earnings account. It's same as retained earnings accounts, what you are doing in 11i. So I'm just assigning the account. Retained earnings account. It's good, I remember. Fine, you are just assigning the retained earnings account. Suspense account, the same meaning in 11i. You want to assign suspense account. If there is any differences, system will go and set it in a suspense account. A rounding difference, if there is any currencies difference, multiple currencies, journals, if there is any rounding difference, if you want to track, you can do it. Intercompany balancing, journal approval, journal entry, tax. You want to charge a tax for journal entry, enable it. Journal approval, we will create a separate article for each and everything. Just go to next. Journal reconciliation, that's a new concept where you can define the journal lines must be reconciled with each other and balanced to zero. You have to ensure that it is reconciling to each other line. We will see. Now the budgetary controls. You can define if you are using the budgetary control. We are trying to see here simple ledger. Our plan is to create as many document as possible, video possible, to have a separate topic so it can benefit people, so people can open and use the videos only what they need, where they need. Click next. System will ask you to finish it. It's a one page final window where you can see all the configurations you have done. Just say finish. Once you have done, you can see the green box and the status box, where you can see the status box. Now the next is reporting currencies. It's nothing but reporting ledger. We don't need to define a separate ledger. We are going to see it as a separate topic. Reporting currencies and ledgers. Reporting currencies, when you are going to define a reporting currency, you have three options to maintain the reporting currencies accountings. It can be at the balance level, subledger level, or journal level. We just see the separate topic here. Go to our websites. We have created a separate document called, it takes time. We just go to the next topic. See here, subledger conversion level, where you can see we have created a separate PDF document where you can learn one by one. Now, reporting currencies can be defined and conversion level can be any one of these three: journal, subledgers, and balances. We are not going to define now. We are going to create as a separate document. Balancing segment values. You can assign the values directly to the ledgers. If you are going to assign the values, these values can be used directly in ledger. I'm going to assign 0 to 03 example. If you are going to assign 0 to 03 to the ledger directly, still these two values can be used in subledger as well. We have assigned 01 as a legal entity. If you go to subledger like AR, AP, purchasing, wherever, still you can use 01, 02, 03, all these three values. The architecture is, if you assign any values directly to the ledger, that can be that can be used in subledger as well. Okay. Once you complete it, the box will become, you can see the status, it's green. Subledger accounting option. What is subledger accounting options? Say example, the payables. We have two options. Update accounting options. Whenever you are summarize period, whenever journal entries you are transferring, if you select no summarization, it will be in a detailed form. If you group by GL date, particular transaction, particular GL date, that is nothing, GL date is nothing but an accounting date. It will be grouped by accounting date. GL period means accounting date in a period will be grouped. Similarly, summarized by GL date, summarized by GL period. If you say no summarization, it will be in a detailed form. Reversal, whenever you are reversing it, system will ask you want to create a negative sign or switch debit to credit, credit to debit, sorry. Routing row, nearest up or down. And third party merge accounting option. What is this? Whenever you are creating supplier merge or customer merge, say example A Limited and B Limited, you are combining A Limited to the B Limited as a supplier merge or customer merge. We have an option how you want to represent accounting. If you are going to use none, there will not be any accounting impact. System will simply merge the account and transfer. There will not be any change in the accounting. Replace third party. If you are going to use the word replace third party, what the system will do it? System will change the journal entry, legal entity from the old legal entity, old party to the new party. Transfer third party control and balances. Similarly, it will transfer from old party and site, from old party to the new party, balances as well as journals. It will recreate and rebook the journals in a new party's name. But to see these differences, you have to ensure that you are running the program called create accounting third party merge. If I am right, create accounting third party merge. Always what you do is, it's difficult to remember all the hundreds of request name. Of course, even though I know that the name is correct, always put a percentage, create accounting percentage third percentage party. You can see the exact request name. Now, accounting program mode. You can transfer it in a final mode or a draft mode. Whenever you are transferring, system will ask you, it's a new subledger accounting. You put it in a draft mode, check accountings are right at subledger level. Again, subledger means ARAP. Then you can do it in a final mode. You want to transfer, override, transfer to GLS, yes or no. You can override, post in GL, no. Because there are companies, people will have their own field. Example, subledgers, there will be a separate department. Don't see it only as a simple functionality from EBS point of view. Just see that how you are going to link it to the real world. In a real sense, and subledger owned by separate department. Say example, payables clerk. Payables department will own the payables module, but general ledger will be owned by separate people. So there'll be an agreement that sub people, the subledger people, they have to create and transfer to GL. They should not post. Only GL people will go and reconcile and check that everything is right. Then they will post it. So it depends on the process. You have to see how it is possible, how they are handling it. Accordingly, you have to map it. It's not a simple configuration, each and every box. The solution is a correct solution where it is mapped to correctly to the process based on the requirement of the client. So there's no perfect solutions. You can say no at one client and others say yes. So if it is matching the requirement of the client, then that's a correct configuration. Now, accounting report level, you want a detail or summary, you can select. If there is no summary, detail means you just see it a detail. There's no point in having a summary. Allow report override, yes or no. If there is a limit, stop error limit, you can say there's no limit. Apply. Return to accounting options. Now, operating unit. We can assign operating unit here. You can go to HRMS and define operating unit. Operating unit, we are linking, it's unlike a 11i. 11i is a linear structure. It's a more of a horizontal, where if you see that closely, operating unit is linked to ledger, legal entity is linked to ledger. In a way, operating unit is linked to legal entity through ledger only, linked. Operating unit, once you define an operating unit, it will become a green status. Intercompany accounts. What's an intercompany account? There are two types of intercompany. One is intra, another is inter. Intra means creating the transaction within a legal entity. Just by one legal entity, we can use a ASM. Intercompany means transactions where it is taking place across the legal entity. If we are going to transact across the legal entity, it is known as an intercompany. It's nothing but we are going to use the AGIS. And sequencing. We will see intercompany as well in the part of AGIS. Sequencing. It's a additional document representations. Probably we all would have heard about gapless sequencing numbering for AR and AP. Now it is available for journal as well in ledger. Sequencing. Accounting and reporting sequences we can now find. Now, secondary ledger. You can define a secondary ledger. Add a secondary ledger. Unlike reporting currencies, we can define and use one of the three conversion level: balance, journal, or subledger. For secondary ledger, we got 4 options: journal, balance, subledger, and adjustment only. We got 4 options. Again, we got a separate documentation for this. Please go through it. You will know in detail one by one, and including the flow as well. Back to the form. We are going to see this, how to create a secondary ledger and assign to the ledger separately. Okay. Once you've done all this, please ensure that you are completing the setup. Unless you complete this, this ledger will not be available to use it. Complete the ledger. System will ask you, ensure that three things are correct: legal entity, balance segment value, and reporting currencies, because system will say that you cannot change it. Say yes. Once you complete it, this ledger is available to use. Now we have created a ledger called Sparksoft. Now this is available to use. Now consulting question will come into picture. Now people are asking, oh sorry, after you use it, I want to change the currencies or one of the C's. What should I do? Of course, we all know that Oracle will not support this. Easiest way is create a new ledger, and with the correct currencies or chart of accounts or whatever calendars, perform the consolidation and use the new ledger to the responsibilities. Now we will see how to assign to the responsibilities. If you see that journals, enter, you can see still system is showing vision operation, because there's a profile option called GL ledger. In 11i is nothing but GL setup books. Now we have to assign the ledger. LA, it's a responsibility name, GL ledger. Site level, you can see the ledger name. That's the reason when you are seeing the journal entry form, you have seen this ledger. Now we have to assign our ledger to see our ledger. Our ledger is available, save the records. Now the question, another consulting question. Is it necessary that we have to attach the ledger at site level? Answer is no, there's no requirement, and architecture wise, system will not throw any error. You don't need to attach ledger at site level. Then when we don't need to do this. See, again, depends on the requirement. Assume that you have only one ledger. You are implementing for a client where you have to define only one ledger. Best and easiest option is please attach the ledger at site level, because the same ledger will default to all the responsibilities. There's no issue. Okay, second requirement, second different client. You are defining 10 ledgers and you are creating hundreds of responsibilities. Different responsibilities should access different ledger. What we have to do? Again, here two ways possible. As I have said before, solution is the correct solution, which should be used according to the situation. Situation means timelines, critical positions, acceptance level, your counterpart, how he is behaving, and what clients wants. You have to see so many things. There's no perfect solutions. Okay. So now the ledger name. If you assume that you have got a 10 ledgers, you have got hundreds of responsibilities. Let us stick to 100 responsibilities. 10 responsibility each should attach to one ledger. Now the question will come into picture. You can attach ledger at site level. Say example number one ledger you are attaching, and that will be defaulted to all the 10 responsibilities. Another ledger you have to attach at a responsibility level. What will happen if you forget to attach at responsibility level for ledger 2, ledger 3 and all that? System by default will use ledger 1. If people don't notice this, it will lead to mistake. So there are two sets of people, two way people are arguing. No, if you attach at ledger site level, it will default automatically. Even if people don't configure correctly at responsibility level, it will default from site level. Nobody will notice it. People will create a journal and pass it and go. It will create a mess. The best option is, if this is a situation, best option is don't configure anything at site level. So what will happen for any responsibility? If you don't configure at responsibility level, system will throw error. There's no ledger assigned to this. So that way you can come back and assign this properly. So before you creating the mistake, this way you can prevent the mistake before it has been created. If you attach at site level, it can be corrected still, but only after you create a mistake. Okay, now go back to your ledger responsibilities. Now if you see that you are able to see Spoksoft PL. That is our ledger. So this is what the ledger is. Ledger is a repository model. It's a main ledger, like a subledger where it is for a ARAP. It is a main ledger. Now the key table where systems storing. Now a ledger, GL ledger is the main table. It's like a GL setup books in Lavani where we can see all the ledgers informations. Just simply execute the query. You can see all the ledgers created. This is a detailed. It will show setup steps and statuses. What the setup steps and statuses? You can see each and every example. Statuses. We have not configured anything for reporting currencies and secondary ledger. It will show you here. GL configuration. It will show you complete configuration for our ledger. It will show you complete configurations. And this is the table where system will show you the values, balancing segment values assigned to the ledgers. As you have said, it's one of the key point. If you assign any balancing segment value, short form is BSV, to ledgers, those values can be seen even in subledgers. The another one is there are so many tables. I just picked up only key tables for our document purposes. A relationship. It will show us what is the relationship between the primary ledger to the reporting ledger, or primary ledger to secondary ledger if we define that. These are all the key tables where we can see from the back end as well for the simple query purposes. Now with this, I think we covered a basic concept of what is ledger, how it is different from Lavani. Legal entity we have not seen because it has been covered in other document. So using ASM, Accounting Setup Manager, we can combine a legal entity and reporting currencies, secondary ledger, and intercompany AJS accounts and operating units. We can group it in a single place through Accounting Setup Manager. Thanks for watching this. If you have any questions, please raise your questions. We'll try to help you as much as possible and as early as possible. If you have any training requirement, please go through the training application and duration pages and select the product whatever you would like to buy. When you buy it, system will take you to the navigation place where you have to add it into the cart. You can see all the description of the training in detail before you buy it. Thanks for watching this. Please post your queries and comments. Thanks.